A strong jolt makes me look up. A man struggles to hold onto my arm, his teeth gritting with a fork. You stupid idiot. Mashita? Shut up and give me your other arm. Hurry up, grab onto me. Right. He desperately tries to pull me up, and after what feels like an eternity of struggling, I make it over the ledge and tumble safely back inside the hotel. The only sound that can be heard is our gasps for breath as we sit in the darkness. Why did you ignore my orders? Mashita spits words out between wheezes. Sorry. This isn't the time to be making excuses. I might be better off shutting up. Idiot. Try putting yourself in my shoes. Is she gone? I think so. The window. I'm still trembling as I point to the broken window. She threw herself out of it. She might have been trying to take me with her. No, not you. That sir person. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Can you walk? Then let's go. Ashta slowly stands and looks at me. Nicely done. That wasn't bad work for an amateur like you. It stopped raining. The cool wind on my cheek hints at autumn. I'm going to drop by and see Diamond. I'd like to see how the others are doing. Yeah. What? Hand me the car key. No, I can drive. Have you completely gone mad? Look at your hands. I glance down at them, only to suddenly realize they are still shaking. You just face down, Spirit. You can't drive in that condition. The choice made for me, I take the key out of my pocket and toss it to Mashita. The corner parking lot. Right. You rest here. His figure melts into the darkness. As I watch him go, I notice something down on the wet asphalt. It's a dead spider. It lay there, legs are curled up, almost as if it was desperately trying to hold on to something. Are you satisfied now? Then let's go home. I gently pick the spider up. I wrap it in my handkerchief and put it in my pocket. The car ride back is a blur. I sat and let Mashita's voice wash over me like a background radio noise. I remember wondering if Red Riding Hood might have stolen a part of my soul. Before the investigation, the day Moe tipped us off on that testimony, remember? That helped me connect dots. I realized the teacher was wrapped up in the case. A teacher from school near the hotel was arrested for breaking the law. That's... What does that have to do with anything? There was not part in Aiko's testimony. They were scared. they'd be reported, but nothing ever happened. In other words, Esko never went to the police after tattling to the teacher. Or maybe more, she couldn't go. I frown as I try to put the pieces together. I think I'm too spaced out, and it's not making sense. Oh, you'd never make it as a detective. Can't you just drop that? I don't plan on becoming one anyway. There's only one possible answer. This person Esko trusted so deeply was one of the masquerade's customers. What? I feel like I've been hit up on the side of my head, and not with a pillow, more like a lead pipe. The one she sought salvation from ended up being a criminal. The definition of irony. Mashta glances out the window and chuckles dryly. The bitter sound fits both our moods. It was the teacher, and Mura, the one mentioned in Eiko's testimony. I saw a photo of him. He was thin, tall, the type popular with students. Well, I suppose. He glances back at me through the mirror. You might say he wasn't too unlike you. Mashta suddenly tosses a file at me. Those are the research results. Look them over if you want to know more. Results? I flip through the thick bundle of paper. There are a set of very well organized documents. It would have taken a lot of time to gather this amount of information. Then it hits me. Wait a second. Must have just said that he has connected the dots with the help of Moi's testimony. Which means he knew all of this before we started our investigation tonight. You knew everything? I just said I put it all together when I heard the testimony. But I decided not to tell you just in case. Why? If I had known, I could have... What would have you done? His tone turns mocking as he laughs. You would have just sympathized too much and let down your guard. You should be grateful I didn't. Ashta leaves me with the research file and heads to Diamond's hospital. Now that I'm alone, I can't keep my 3 hospitalized friends out of my mind. But there's nothing I can do for them right now. So I've done everything I can. I bolster myself with that information. I spread Mashta's documents out on the table. I'm exhausted, but I feel like I need to go through them today. Who in the world was Red Riding Hood? If Mashta was right, the truth should be right in front of me. The elevator's puzzle. Red Riding Hood mentions the top floor, then disappears. Does she mean the 6th floor? But the buttons only go to the 5th. I suddenly remember the word combination. It could be that the buttons need a secret code to work. But what order should I press them in? I'm sure that is a clue in the hotel. Mashta's report. I faced Red Riding Hood on the 6th floor, where she had waited for me, and managed to drive her back. But she nearly takes me with her, until Mashta saves me at the last second. He's furious with me for disobeying his orders. I'm given his research file on the hotel. This is what it says. Esko tattling to her homeroom teacher and Mura about the job is what started it all. And Mura proposed to Esko that they gather evidence first, and they arranged to meet at Masquerade that night. But the only thing waiting for Esko there was utter betrayal by the teacher she was in love with. It turned out that Mura himself was one of the Masquerade's customers. No one knows what exactly happened to Esco. She was found wandering the streets in a red raincoat and immediately admitted to a facility. Unfortunately, her mental state was too far gone already, and she committed suicide by throwing herself from a sixth-floor window of the hospital. The night she dies was cold and rainy, just like today. The report has info and Mura as well. When he was arrested for other illegal activities, he ended up testifying about masquerade as well. Having your partner wear all red was code that you were planning to use the deluxe suite for the hotel. That could be the reason Esco wore that red raincoat that night. Not long after the trial, Mura apparently hung himself in jail. And so, the case surrounding Masquerade quietly comes to a close, leaving us an invisible scar on that dark street. The lives lost will never return, and neither will their trampled dignity. The only thing that saves that disaster is that my friends survived. Hito, Banshee, and Shu all regained consciousness after that. They got out of it with no lasting symptoms and are recovered enough to go back to their lives. Diamond concluded that the affliction inhibited the soul very much like the mark. In that case, maybe Red Riding Hood was finally released from that horrible nightmare, just like the spirits that gave people the mark. If anything good came about this case, then that would be it. A week later. I'm coming in. Mashita suddenly shows up on my doorstep. Before I even open my mouth, he pulls out an envelope and tosses it on the table. I'm here to deliver this. It's your reward. Take it and get out of here. I didn't do it because I wanted a reward. How should I know? The client asked me to do this, that's all. I did my job and handed it over. The rest is in your hands. Damn, what a pain. Mashita turns and curses under his breath, but I can still hear everything he says. That's all you came for? No, there's one other thing. I learned something from this past case. And what's that? Something about you. You're suited for this work, after all. That again? Sorry, but I'm done. No more. Just hear me out. There have been more mysterious cases like masquerades popping up lately. I thought it might be Mark-related, but it seems like I was wrong. He stops for a moment, then mutters. Hyakkyagyo, a monster's parade. Have you heard anything about it? Hyakkyagyo? Yeah, sure, in ghost stories. But he's clearly asking about something that's happening in the real world. No, I haven't. That's so. I figured you, of all people. Forget it. First he asks me, then he tells me to forget it. He only cares about his own bottom line. Ashton glances briefly at the sofa in the corner of the room. Might have known something. So you want my help? The old lady Yasuoka seems to think you could do some good. I do too. That's all I wanted to say. No, wait. I have one last bit of advice. Quit doing stuff like that. Like what? You picked up that dead spider, didn't you? You saw? just out of the corner of my eye. That's why darkness follows you. Your ancestors probably had pity on her too. The living and the dead can't coexist. If you try to accept their feelings, you'll just end up getting pulled in. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Mashita just snorts derisively like usual.
せいぜいよく考えろ。望まなくてもいずれその時が来る。
Give it some thought. Even if you don't want it, the time may come one day. He leaves, closing the door behind me. That marks the end of the case, and the end of one chapter in my story. But someday in the future, I can't help but think that door will be thrown open again.